Hey guys, so today I'm gonna intro the new unit, what we're gonna be doing in it, and talk about the themes in the unit and briefly talk about your first assignment. So for fourth marking period, our anchor text, the main thing we're going to be doing is reading the novel Into the Wild and then talking about the American Dream. That's the theme that kind of goes with Into the Wild. Now, this rolls really nicely after our third marking period work. If you guys remember, the last text we read was Of Mice and Men, where we studied symbiosis, relationships, and stuff like that. But also, we were talking about the whole American dream, like the American dream during the Great Depression and how there kind of really wasn't space for an American dream during that time because their thought was you could go ahead and go for it, but it's not going to happen. And sadly, that's how a lot of Americans felt during that time. This is a little bit different in that it's all about pursuing your American dream. And given the day and age we live in right now, what does that dream look like for you? When people say the American dream, your pursuit of happiness, what does that look like for you? It's starting to kind of get you guys envisioning that because next year you're going to be juniors and you have to kind of, not to put pressure on you, but you got to kind of start thinking about what that future looks like for you. Does it involve college or further education? Does it involve workforce? Does it involve family, relationships in your future, children, that type of thing? So it's kind of getting you to start envisioning what does that future look like for you so you can kind of start setting on a path to achieving those dreams, those goals, those ambitions you guys might have. Okay, so if you look down here, you're going to see some of the stuff we're going to be doing for this unit. The first thing is assignment number 1, and you're watching this video right now, so you're kind of into assignment number 1. We'll come back and kind of cover this really quickly in a minute. But you can see some of the topics, the themes, the links and stuff we're going to be looking at. All right, so the first, let's talk about the themes that we're going to cover in this Into the Wild and any linking text and stuff that we're going to cover. And like I said, it's the American dream, your pursuit of happiness. And here are some of the concepts that go with that. The first one says dreams are important in people's lives. Walt Disney said, if you can dream it, you can do it. Dreams are like beacons leading a person on the journey of life. That's why we want you guys to start thinking it. If you're not thinking it, you're not dreaming it, what are the chances of it happening for you? You have to be the person who puts that plan into action. Dreams give people a reason to live, obviously. That's why it's good. People always ask what your dreams, your hopes, your goals are. It gives you motivation. Dreams, the topics are going to be about relationships, your future occupation, future life goals. Like, it doesn't necessarily just have to be a job. It could be like, you know, your bucket list, things you like to do in life, which goes into the next bullet, which says describe your dream for your life. You want to be able to have some kind of vision. And of course, guys, it's going to change over time. I mean, you're going to be juniors in high school. Your dream, it's constantly changing and evolving, but at least it gives you a starting point. And once you achieve those things, you keep adding to that list, hopefully. Tell how you plan to realize your dream. Remember at the beginning of the year, we talked about setting up like goals for the year, and we said anybody can write down a goal. The important part of goal setting is knowing what you have to do in order to achieve that goal. That's what this says, how you plan to realize your dream. If you can't describe your plan, the chances of it happening are definitely not as great as if you can itemize out the steps that you need to do to achieve those dreams. Build skills to realize and accomplish those dreams, hopefully, right? That's what being in school, working every day is hopefully getting you closer to achieving those dreams. And discuss how others have worked to realize their dreams. Learning from others' successes and failures, you guys, helps you a lot because you see kind of what works, what doesn't work, that type of thing. Okay, so those are the concepts we're going to be talking about. Now, when we are reading Into the Wild, okay, because that's our anchor text, you guys, right? That's what we're going to get into. Oops, sorry guys, I'm going to go up here. Okay, when we're reading Into the Wild, a couple of things I want to tell you to kind of front load you with some info about Into the Wild. Into the Wild is a true story, which means it is nonfiction. It's a true story about a guy named Chris McCandless who you see in the picture there. Okay, Chris McCandless's dream was to go live off the land, basically, to go out in the Alaskan wilderness and live off the land by himself. Okay. He studied Jack London, he studied Thoreau and stuff like this. The story is told in kind of a backward setting, in that you find out the ending and how he winds up, which is dead on the Yukon Trail. And the rest of the story tells you about how did he get there. So right on the front cover, if you were to read this front cover right here of the text, it tells you on whatever, April of 1992, Chris McCandless headed out into the Alaskan wilderness, and however many weeks later he was found dead, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what? What was this guy thinking, and what did he do, and what happened to him? And that's how the story starts. It starts backwards. Then it tells you the beginning of his journey and how it all unfolded. So this kid, Chris McCandless, it's kind of funny. He has roots in Iron Mountain, like his grandparents and his mother are from Iron Mountain, Michigan. They mention Iron Mountain in the book. They call us what do they call us? A mountainous mining region. So they talk about his grandparents that still live here. They name them and everything. I remember once a student brought in a picture of her out at Lake Antoine, her family. Like they had an annual get together, like a family reunion out at Lake Antoine every year, and McCandless was in one of her family pictures. So I thought that was so crazy. He has roots like here in Iron Mountain, so I think that makes the story interesting. But it also started out as a magazine article, you guys. They were trying to identify who he was. So this whole novel started with a magazine article, and it got so much response and feedback because people were so interested in the story and who this kid was and what happened, that the author, John Krakauer, turns this magazine article into this novel that becomes a national bestseller really quickly. So in terms of literature, it's a really like hot off the press kind of story. They wrote it in the late 90s. And it became like it's still a bestseller, like yearly. You'll see it pop up on the bestseller list. And the reason is it's not just about this kid's journey. It's about like you guys pursuing your journey, and what are you willing to give up, and what are you willing to do, and are all our dreams achievable and things like that. So people really, in addition to, if you're an outdoorsman, you like your hunting, fishing, that kind of thing, you're going to love this story. In addition to that aspect of it, it's all about like the dream setting and what's reasonable and rational and what you should be doing kind of a thing. Okay? So it's all about pursuing your dreams. Now, because it was a magazine article that then turned into a novel, you got a lot of extra stuff in this book to kind of fill up space. For example, for chapters like 3, 4, 5 chapters, he goes on and like relates this Chris McCandless's journey to other explorers who kind of had the same fate as him. So they kind of go off on tangents a little bit. So because of that, here's how we're going to cover this, you guys. I'm going to pick chapters and read them out loud for you, okay? You have a couple of choices. You can listen to me read them. You can follow along because I'll scroll the text on the screen as I'm reading, because a lot of people like to follow as well as listen. If you don't want to listen, you can just read the chapters on your own, and I will post the link to the hard copy, the text of the book, so you can read the pages on your own. And some people will want to read the entire book themselves because, like I said, it's really interesting. And so you can read the entire text, you can read the chapters we're going through on your own, or you can listen and follow along weekly as I put up new chapters that we'll be covering, okay? And that'll be assignment by assignment. And so you'll know exactly where you're supposed to be at, what I'm reading, etc. Okay? As we're reading those chapters, we're going to talk about a couple of different things. Like I said, your pursuit of happiness, your American dream. We're going to look at the original article that was written here by the author. You're going to respond to some of the stuff. You know, what do you think about McCandless and his journey? One of the big topics is innocence or ignorance. We're going to talk about the concept of transcendentalism and like some of these people that were motivating McCandless basically to want to go out and live on his own. And then, oh, it's a really good soundtrack that goes with the movie. I have the movie linked up down here. So Oprah, Sean Penn right here, they get a hold of this story, and because it's so like well received and so popular and on the New York Times bestseller list and everything, they create a movie about it. So maybe you guys have even seen the movie. It's fairly recent. It was like in the I don't know, to around 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around there, guys. But this is the author, John Krakauer. This is Chris McCandless' sister, and this is the actor, Sean Penn, who I'll get in and make this movie that becomes this world hit, and has a really good soundtrack to it, which we're going to work with here too, okay? But like I said, just worry about the one assignment a week that you're going to get, 1 or 2 assignments. Remember to, every Monday and Wednesday at 12:30, anytime between 12:30 and 3 is your class time. So anytime in between 12:30 and 3 on Mondays and Wednesdays, come check for your assignment. Sometimes you'll only have 1 assignment for the whole week. Sometimes if they're smaller, we're moving quickly, or I'm reading something to you, you might have 2 assignments. So just make sure Mondays, Wednesdays, sometime between 12:30 and 3, you guys come back here and see if there's anything additional uploaded for you to either watch, participate in, or complete, okay? So your first assignment then, guys, you're already completing it if you're listening to this video, hopefully. Then you're going to review these concepts. We just went over them, so you're pretty good. And then you're going to watch these 2 videos. Each one's just like a quick 5-minute clip, and it's on the concept of the American dream and does money buy happiness, and is life getting better. So these 2 clips were on like a primetime 2020 kind of thing. So watch those 2 clips, and then you're going to do this paragraph response, okay, on the concept of does money buy happiness. Make sure to watch these 2 videos, you guys, before you respond, because it tells you a couple of concepts. Like, I know a lot of people, you guys are going to say, yes, money buys happiness, of course. The more things you have, a lot of people want their toys, right? Like their boats, their trucks, etc. And if you have those things, of course, you're going to get natural happiness out of it. But some of the concepts mentioned in here are things maybe you guys haven't thought about. They talk about experiences like trips, vacations, that kind of thing, being where you should spend your money, because those really do bring happiness. Purposeful work, like the job you're going to do, volunteering in your community, that those bring you truer happiness than things would. But one thing that's not mentioned in here that I want to mention really quickly for you guys is the concept of your income. So a lot of times people are picking careers and talking about things they want to do because they want to make more money, because again, they think the more money, the happier. And one concept people talk about that the experts say is that once you make a certain amount of money, and I want to say for a 4-person household, that is about $60,000 to $70,000 a year. So if 2 people are working, that means it's like $35,000 a year. Or if it's just a 1-person income in the household for a family of 4 now, they're saying that amount is about $60,000 to $70,000. And they say once you hit that amount, making anything over that will not buy you any more happiness, because they say once you hit that amount, that means you have a roof over your head, so you're not worried about shelter. You can put food on the table and not stress about paying bills with making that amount of money. So they say, sure, it's true, you buy something nice, shiny, and new, it's going to bring you happiness, but they say it's for a limited time. They say once you hit about the 9-month mark, the luster starts to wear off of whatever it was you just made that big purchase on, and you return back to the same level of happiness you were at before you made that purchase. So think about that. What do you think, if that's true or not? Would you always want more and more and more no matter what amount you made? Do we need to find happiness within ourselves in doing these experiences? That's the concept I want you to write about in this response, okay? So it's just a paragraph, you guys. Comment on it. You're going to upload it, type it in a Google Doc. Share that Google Doc with me, and you have until next Monday to do that. So make sure by Monday you get these clips watched, you type up your response, and you should be good to go. And then don't forget, check back every Monday and Wednesday, 12:30 to 3, to see what your next assignment would be. See you guys soon.